I'd now like to introduce you to two people who have made their way down from Singapore. I'd like to introduce you to Nicole, Wiener and Joel Lee from Revinate. As I said, Revinate, giving them a shameless plug, we use Revinate. We only use platforms that generate our clients money, and they're going to be talking about next level loyalty, creating compelling benefits and perks for today's consumer. All the way from Singapore, please welcome Nicole and Joel. Thank you.
Good to be here today. Thanks, Adrian. So today we're talking about loyalty. This is a topic that comes up quite a lot with us at Revinate. Should hotels have a loyalty program? If it is a loyalty program, should it be a points-based loyalty program? Should it be a non-points-based loyalty program? What is important? So hopefully today we'll be able to answer some of those questions for you. So Joel and I are from Revinate. At Revinate, what we do is we help hotels enhance their guest experience and drive direct bookings. And the way that we do that is basically helping you effectively manage your guest data.
And today we will be speaking about a couple of things. We're going to talk a little bit about market trends, what's happening in the market. We're going to then move on to talk about a loyalty study, to see what works, what's effective, what's not effective, and after that we're going to be sharing some examples, right? Some good examples of how you can instill like a loyalty program, and finally we will end off with key takeaways. So I want to do something with you guys right now, right? Do you guys have papers in front of you? If you don't have papers, take out your phone and let's take a minute or two to think about what guests really want from loyalty programs, right? You guys are all, some of you own hotels, some of you manage hotels. You're also consumers when you go out for business travels for leisure. I want you to think about 3 things that you look out for in a loyalty program. What will encourage you guys to come back for a stay? All right, so take 1 or 2 minutes to get this going.
So top 3 things that's important to you. And have a think about it, not just from being a hotelier, but also as being a guest as well. Like, what's important?
All right. See, everybody's have pretty much done it up a little bit. All right. Can I have a show of hands? How many of you written discounts? Yep. Okay. And how many of you here written
Points?
Points. Yes. How many?
Is
of
points
you
important?
Points?
Ooh. 2. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So points aren't that important to everybody else. All right.
Okay. Interesting. And all right.
Okay, so let's have a look at what's happening in the market. As we know, there's a lot of different options for guests. There's the traditional brands, so the larger brands like IHG, Accor, Marriott. There's the independent brands in Australia. There's the likes of Landsmore, Spices, Ovalo Hotels, there's Airbnb, there are backpackers, there's glamping, holiday parks, etc. So with all of these options, how do you stand out so that somebody picks you? Okay, so this is an interesting one because sometimes all of those different options can actually be compared with each other or can be presented side by side. This is a search result that one of our team members in Amsterdam actually did. And it is a general search, a Google search that says places to stay in Sydney. But you'll see that a brand came up, a pod bed came up, and a backpackers hostel came up, all on the same search. So so this definitely was an interesting one. Now, brands are important. People like to see that consistency. They like to know what they're going to get when they're going to stay at a brand. So whether or not it's a really like a large brand where there's multiple, the 80 plus properties, or whether it's a smaller brand with 5 plus properties, that is important. This is a study from McKinsey. It had a look at both loyalty programs and brand loyalty between 2021 and 2023. And the question was, what is the likelihood of recommending loyalty or brand? It isn't, would you use this? It was, would you recommend it to somebody else? Interestingly enough, brand loyalty in accommodation stayed strong, so that stayed consistent. but the NPS for loyalty programs actually went down, indicating that people just aren't happy with what they're getting when it comes to loyalty programs. So this is continuing on with the same study. There are two age brackets here, so 18 to 24 and then 65 and above. And what's interesting with this is that the 18 to 24-year-old brackets, they weren't overly interested in the brands. They weren't overly interested in the loyalty program. What they were interested in value for money. So not necessarily whether or not it was an inexpensive property, but whether or not they were receiving the value for money, and also having a great reputation. So both age brackets are going online, they're searching for your reputation. What are people saying about your property or your brand online, and making a decision based on that.
On the screen, you see three fairly famous brands, right? Marriott, Hilton, and IHG. Something that they have in common is their very big loyalty database, 196, 180, and 130 million members. Right, that's exactly how they run their loyalty programs through a point-based loyalty system. And another thing that these brands have in common would be their geographic reach and also their number of keys. That is exactly how they have managed to make point-based loyalty programs so successful. Right. A little bit on an example on how loyalty programs work for these three brands is it happens on an ownership level, right? So owners will have this money fund where they put money into it whenever they receive paying guests. When these paying guests redeems their reward, money gets taken out from this fund, right? So I want to share a little bit about, let's talk some numbers to give you guys a perspective on how much money exactly it takes to make something, to keep point-based loyalty system successful and keep it running. So Marriott, IHG, Hyatt, Hilton, all these brands, they have a liability pool, and Marriott has approximately 3.3 billion in their short-term liability fund and a 3.6 billion in their long-term fund. Whereas in contrast, Hilton has a 1.2 billion in their short term and 1.5 billion in their long term. All right, you can see from this the reason why points-based loyalty programs work for these brands because they have deep pockets. Now, what do guests really want if not points? So this is a study done up by Oracle. 78% of your guests prefer immediate benefits over points. 61% prefer to choose their own rewards, and 54% is interested in a room upgrade. So the four of you who raise your hands to points, let's have a chat later by the booth. Now, another study has been done, and these are the highlights in terms of loyalty. Let's look a little bit in depth into this. So it says here, 30,000 rooms are needed to profitably support that loyalty, points-based loyalty program, to keep it running and to make it successful, right? You can all see now why Marriott, IHG, these international brands are able to keep this, their systems running very successfully. So, if not points, then what should we do? You might be asking. Personalized guest experience will win points any day. All right, so communicate to your guests, personalize and curate your content at every step of the guest journey. Right? We always say loyalty is not just one point it's not just one point. It's maybe at post-stay. It's not just at one point, but it's a journey, right? So you want to constantly speak to your customers, speak to your guests, understand their preferences, understand their interests. Maybe, let me paint a story to you guys, right? Maybe you found out that this person who visited your hotel before, they like fluffy pillows. The next time they visit your hotel again, you can have fluffy pillows prepared in their rooms already, right? Another alternative is, so I have friends who they just became parents, right? And for all the parents in the room over here, you know that finding a kid-friendly hotel sometimes could be a challenge if you visit specific countries like maybe Bali or I don't know, any specific resorts, right? So by understanding your guests and understanding which ones are family, which ones are here for like a romance trip, you can then start to, before the question's even asked, provide them that service, right? And last point, guests also want flexibility to choose their own reward, right? So give them options. Don't just tell them, here it is, this is it. Don't force them into making that decision. Don't force them into giving them the reward, but we all like the freedom to choose and we like options. Right, so how do we then redefine or define loyalty programs? A couple of steps, really. So you want to put the customer value in the center, right? Use data-driven approach. Put it in the center. Understand your guests, like I said, understand your guests, their preferences, who they are. Everyone's different, right? Everyone's unique. Every traveler is unique. So try to put in effort, use data to understand your guests, and you can, from there, then personalize, curate your content. Again, I have mentioned a couple of examples just now. Those are some examples that you guys could also implement. Guest feedback. So communicate to them mid-stay, post-stay, post-checkout. Understand what is good about their stay, what's lacking, so you guys could improve. And if mid-stay you found out that, hey, okay, this guest is had not quite a pleasurable experience so far, let's perform some service recovery, right? You can save that bad review from going on TripAdvisor. You can save that guest before he turns away from being that loyal customer. Focus on profitability. So through data, you can put profitability at the center of it all, right? So think about how you can utilize your preferences, your understanding of this guest to convert that into campaigns, strategic outreaches. How you can convert by understanding these guests, convert these guests into direct bookers over commissions-based platforms. And also innovations, right? ESG initiatives, keep up with market trends, understand what people are doing around their area, and yeah, just keep up with what's happening.
Let's have a look at some examples. Okay, this is for Ennismore. Last year, Ennismore released their disloyalty program. It is a loyalty program. They called it their disloyalty program. Basically what it is, it's a subscription-based model. I think it costs around, so just over $200 US annually, so definitely affordable. And the aim of it, so the whole aim of this is to drive direct bookings. What they get is they get 50% off any new builds, so any newly released hotels. They get 20% off their first stay. They get 10% off all return visits. They get 10% off any food and drink across their 170 venues. And an interesting one, they get a complimentary barista-made drink 360 days a year. So it sounds like you get free coffee for the rest of your life if you do have that. What they did is they actually used their guest data to segment it and to be able to send this campaign out. They used the segmentation and then they sent it out through email campaigns, through digital, and also through socials. So this was a combination of data from their PMS and also like website signups as well. They also personalized it by segmenting even further. So with location, for example, you can segment it based on where the guest is from, where they live, and that you can actually promote the drive market. And another interesting one is booking history. So if they segmented it between guests who had booked before, guests who hadn't booked before, and then guests who had booked through an OTA and wanted them to book directly. These are three really great campaigns and three different the way to distinguish the different guests. What we did, okay, next one, thanks. what we did is we actually encouraged them to promote this across the entire guest journey, right? So it wasn't just once, it wasn't at the beginning of their stay. It did include the beginning, so at their welcome emails, what we did was we mentioned, the benefits of booking directly. A cancellation recovery. So this is an automated email campaign that can be triggered if a guest cancels their booking. So it immediately goes out. It tells them, hey, if you do book direct, you can receive a 10% discount or a 15% discount. A lot of the time when guests do cancel, it's because they've seen something really good and enticing on an OTA. So we want to capture those back, right? And the next one is the OTA win-back campaign. So yes, use an OTA in order to, to bring in a new guest. But as soon as the guest is on property, they really should become your guest and they should be booking direct. So there is an automated campaign that you can trigger out of Revinate that sends this campaign out to them and says, hey, next time if you book direct, you can get a 10% or you can get a 15% discount. Next one. So this is a nice one. I really like this one. This is Ovolo Hotels. And what they've done is they've really simplified it. So they've made this, they've showed that loyalty campaigns or loyalty programs don't need to be complicated. What they focused on is obviously they focused on having the guest book direct. But one of the main things is that, the guest is feeling important. They're feeling like they are a VIP. Part of the way that they do this is they have the guest sign up through their newsletter sign up, so on their website. And the nice thing about this is that they don't just focus on rooms, right? So yes, booking direct and booking rooms is very important, but what they wanted to do was completely elevate the guest experience. So they include things like, early access, to the likes of music events, to art events, and to new openings of restaurants in the areas as well. So it wasn't just about rooms; they're actually encompassing the entire guest experience. And if you guys do have any other unique ones that you've seen, I know that you guys all do travel. So if you've seen any nice unique ones, please come and share them with us because we're always interested in that.
All right, to end things off over here before lunch, I think. If you guys have not been paying attention or if you missed out on anything, this is the 3 things that you guys should take away from this 15 minutes presentation, right? So, number 1, put guest experience at the core of your program. Number 2 is to use data to offer personalizations to member. All right, I'm gonna say that again. Use your data to offer personalization to your members, right? Curate your content. And the last point is to rethink partnerships, rethink your partnerships to deliver your customers' deals, right? So an example for partnerships would be retail, shopping, F&B. Specific banks with credit cards, right? All these can help in that loyalty journey. All right. Thanks. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Come by the booth if you have any questions.